Hello, I'm Alisa Stern, and I created Dr. Puppet.
Hi Alisa. What came first, eh? You love a puppets and animation, or you love that Doctor Who?
I always loved animation, especially Nightmare Before Christmas and Wallace and Gromit, so I really loved stop-motion puppets, so I decided to study animation and become an animator. And I actually got into Doctor Who while I was working at an animation studio about 6 years ago, where a lot of my coworkers were really into it, so they introduced me, and I created my first Doctor Who puppet in 2012. And since then I have made all of the Doctors into puppets.
Obviously I'd know this, but could you talk people who might not through the process of building a puppet?
These guys are pretty standard stop-motion animation puppets. Inside of each one is an armature, which is like a skeleton, which allows the puppet to be posable. Over the armature, each puppet is covered with foam, which I carve to give them some shape. And over that goes the costume. I have a very talented friend, Amanda, who's amazing at designing and sewing costumes, so she does most of the sewing for these guys. One of my favorite things that she's made is the 12th Doctor's coat. I think she just did a wonderful job. Puppet feet are made from polymer clay, and in the bottom of each one is a hole with a nut embedded up under that hole. This allows the puppets to stand, because puppets are not designed to stand on their own, especially not when they're being posed. So what we do is we drill a hole in the bottom of the set, and then we take this, which is called a tie-down rod. We put that under the set, up through the hole, and into the hole in the puppet's foot. We screw this in and we would tighten that wing nut, and that is what allows a puppet to stand on its own. The puppet heads are also made of polymer clay. Each one is hand painted, and nothing on the face is actually animatable except the mouth, which is a paper sticker, so we can swap out that mouth into any shape we want so that the puppet can have different expressions. I make the wigs custom for each puppet, and I use hair that I buy at a beauty salon. This hair is actually real human hair. Not all of the puppets have human hair, but he does.
How'd you capture the spirit of the character in the models you make?
It really hasn't been that difficult to capture the spirit of each Doctor because each one is so unique. It's been really easy to caricature them and to capture them in this simple puppet form. Each one has a really distinct face and a really distinct silhouette. The colors are unique, but also just the shape of each Doctor is really special, and I have a really fun time trying to figure out exactly how to simplify that in the form of a puppet.
Which puppet or prop was the most difficult to create?
I think the most difficult prop we've had to make is actually the first one we made, which is the TARDIS. This was made for the very first Doctor Puppet video back in 2012. I really wanted to look as authentic as possible because it's such an iconic part of Doctor Who. So it was made by my friend Shelby and myself. Shelby is a really talented artist and engineer, and she figured out how we could make this look this authentic. She had access to a laser cutter, so she laser cut most of the parts, which is why they look so precise. And we also had to figure out how this could work best with the puppets. So we cut a hole in the bottom so that they could stand on the set and still be tied to it when they're inside the TARDIS. And we also made this like a cookie jar. So the top comes off, which allows us to put our hands inside of it and animate the puppets coming in and out of the door. Sadly, it is not bigger on the inside.
How long does the average episode of Dr. Puppet take to make from start to finish?
It takes about 3 months to make a Dr. Puppet video. First, we have to write the script, and then we have to storyboard it, which is when we take the script and we turn it into basically a comic book that is timed out, so we can figure out how many shots are going to be in the video and what the characters are going to do in each shot, and then we'll have to figure out what props and backgrounds we'll need, and then we'll have to make all those props and backgrounds and maybe some new puppets. And once all of that is made, which can take over a month by itself, we're ready to actually do the stop motion animation. Each puppet gets posed 12 times times to create 1 second of stop motion animation. So it takes us about a week to do a minute of stop motion animation. Dr. Puppet is animated by myself and Aaron and Rachel, who are 2 brilliant animators. They do a lot more animation than me. They do most of the stuff you see in Dr. Puppet. And even together, the 3 of us get about a minute done a week. So it can take over a month to animate a video, just the stop motion part. But once that part is done, all of that footage that we've animated is ready for post-production, which is mostly done in a program called After Effects. And that's where we add all the effects, like the light on the sonic screwdriver, the TARDIS appearing and disappearing in the TARDIS light, and a lot of backgrounds in Dr. Puppet are actually added in post. We'll often shoot against green screen, then we'll add the background later for shots where we just can't build that background, or maybe it's outer space and we have to add twinkling stars and stuff like that. Once the effects are done and the episode is edited, it's ready for music. Scott's a brilliant composer who writes all of the original music you hear in Dr. Puppet. He always finds a unique style of music to put in the episode to just make it work. He always finds a way to make each episode feel complete.
Is there a Doctor Who puppet you'd love to make? Me, for example.
There is a character I've been wanting to make for a while now, and I finally made her. Meet Missy. Missy is one of my favorite puppets so far because the character of Missy is just so fun. I loved her in Series 8. I love her costume, and Michelle Gomez just did a brilliant job. She's so expressive. I had a lot of fun sculpting her face, and her hair is really cool and really different. I've never made an updo like this before, and honestly I'm not really sure how it's even staying up there. There's a lot of hairspray in it, maybe some magic, I don't know. It's staying though. I also made her little hat. It was fun to watch Death in Heaven over and over again, just to look at that hat and figure out all the little flowers and the little berries on it, and also this crazy hat pin in the back, this huge hat pin, which is like a weapon, which I think is just a brilliant part of this costume. And speaking of the costume, Amanda sewed this. She did a brilliant job. She sewed all this trim by hand. It just looks beautiful. And she looks really great with the 12th Doctor, and I can't wait to see what they'll get up to together.
Okay, look, I know I said a quit, but it's probably forgotten. So, we actually showed Michelle Gomez the Missy puppet. Take a look.
No way! Wow!
Yeah, there's a few more there as well.
Wow! Oh my goodness, Alisa! Oh no way! That's incredible! Wow! Oh, can I keep this? That is incredible.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And finally, what does the future hold for Dr. Puppet? I mean, perhaps a cameo appearance from an attractive sock puppet with multicoloured hair. Hey? Wink.
I don't actually have a functioning TARDIS, so I don't know what the future holds, but I hope that Doctor Who is around for a very long time, and there are lots of faces for me to turn into puppets. And I will continue to do that.
Thanks for talking to us, Alisa. Nice of you to take the time. You can check out the continuing adventures of Dr. Puppet here